Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Tasmanian children have joined thousands across the country in protest against climate change. Walking out of classrooms, the students said they didn't care if their teachers marked them absent and that politicians must do more now.
With youth on their side, their message is loud.
Australian politicians, international politicians, give us not what we want, but what we need. 1, stop Adani coal mine. 2, no more new fossil fuels. And 3, 100% renewable energy by 2030, thank you.
Us kids may only be 25% of the world's population, but we are.
In Hobart, hundreds took to the streets, stopping outside Parliament House, while in Launceston they filled a local park.
So many props to the teachers that are here, absolutely with us, with solidarity, who believe in our future. If you believe in empowering the young people of tomorrow, you believe in giving them a sustainable future that we can live in.
The state government says it's disappointed the strike took place during school time.
School is for learning, and I'd encourage children to be in school today for learning.
But those backing the movement say it's worth the absent mark.
They're going to be learning a lot more today than they ever would in the classroom. Activism is learning. You'll see that on some of our signs. Climate change is worse than homework. We've got the arguments to battle that every day.
Despite Tasmania leading the nation in renewable energy, those present today say it's about the bigger picture.
Tasmania is going better than some of our other states, but there's always going to be room for improvement. There's a long way to go.
More than 50 cities across Australia are holding events like this one here today, joining 90 countries across the globe in taking a stand.
My parents inherited the world from their parents inherited the world from their parents. But at the moment it looks like I'm not going to have a world to inherit and not one to pass on to my kids, and how is that fair?
Jessie Gilmore, 7 Tasmania News.
And Lord Mayors from across the country have met in Hobart today to push the federal government into taking further action on climate change. Addressing a forum of concerned locals, the mayors listing their demands ahead of the federal election expected in May, calling for a new funding pool to employ resilient specialists in every major city to provide advice on how to better adapt to extreme climate change.
We'd also like to see some funding available for cities so that we can do the planning and preparation of our cities for more extreme events.
It's so important for us as capital cities to be able to have a say on the major projects that are going to transform our communities, and at the moment we don't.
The group also discussing how local and federal governments can work more closely to improve livability in our capital cities. 2 men and a woman extradited from New South Wales last week on major drug charges have been refused bail in a Hobart court. Tahar Afuni, Farhad Al-Dakak and Alexandra Rose Kabelki fronted the Hobart Magistrates Court this afternoon. Each has been charged with trafficking a controlled substance and dealing with proceeds of crime. 1 man and the woman have also been charged with using false information to book a flight. Magistrate Chris Webster remanding the trio in custody to reappear in April. A garbage truck driver has been taken to hospital after his vehicle rolled on the East Tamar Highway this afternoon. Emergency crews were called to the scene near the Batman Bridge just before 3.
We certainly assisted the driver, been taken away for review by ambulance to the hospital.
It's not yet known what caused the crash, but the road was closed for several hours. Anyone who witnessed the crash is asked to come forward. More visitors than ever before are booking a getaway to Tasmania, with new data revealing tourist numbers soared to 1.3 million people last year. But the booming industry is bringing with it additional pressures to the state's infrastructure and training facilities.
Tasmania's tourism numbers flying sky high, a record 1.3 million people visiting last year, up 4% in 12 months.
People are getting out and about and seeing more, so we saw Increases to people in Cradle Coast up to 4%, and in the north and southern regions up 3% as well. So we're really pleased with those results.
Visitors to Tasmania spending a record $2.5 billion in 2018. Only the East Coast suffering a drop in visitors. This Hobart business opening just months ago, already benefiting from the boom.
Our most popular flights are the short stay ones, so the ones that go out to Port Arthur and the City Scenic, so 30-minute and 90-minute experiences, followed on by the transfers to destinations around the state.
We do need to match, obviously, the increase in tourists, also our population growth, investment in Tasmania with investments in infrastructure, and we're doing that.
Saying the tourism industry's peak training body needed improvement to accommodate this demand.
That's why we're investing more into capital there to improve the facilities, but also to ensure that Drysdale has an industry-led focus with industry representation, and we are pushing ahead with that agenda.
Meanwhile, in Launceston, the government also doubling funding to Landcare Tasmania to $1 million, used to better educate volunteers.
It's very much about building the capacity of the Tasmanian community so that we can convert their generosity to want to make a difference into real action on the ground.
Protecting our environment for locals and tourists alike. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
The ongoing fight over wages between the government and unions has continued to escalate, with staff told they could have their pay docked if they participate in protests. The Health Service informing employees that if they take part in unsafe industrial action, consequences could include being stood down without pay. Last month, the government offered public sector workers a 6.75% pay rise over the next 3 years, which was rejected. The health union now escalating strike action, including restricting cleaning services in hospitals.
We support the right of workers to take industrial action as a bargaining tool when they are bargaining with an employer who has shown absolutely no regard for their dedication. To have unclean hospitals and to be disrupting services that Tasmanians need when they're in need of health care, while we have an offer on the table, is entirely counterproductive.
The government not ruling out hiring contract staff while the protests take place. Hobart's Royal Botanical Garden is expecting a visit from the Easter Bunny, with tickets now on sale for the 7th annual Easter egg hunt on Good Friday. Thousands upon thousands of chocolate treats and some healthier options will be scattered throughout the grounds. The event raising funds for the Royal Hobart Hospital Research Foundation.
If I think about the research work that our clinical researchers are engaged in, so many of these issues have impacts on young families, so it's really, really important that we have a chance to connect with them and maybe even incline them towards supporting us further in the future.
The hunt will begin on April 19 from 10:30 in the morning. It was footy fever at Hobart's Cornelian Bay Oval today, with around 500 Tasmanian high school students having a kick in the AFL Nines School Challenge. 16 schools across the state taking part in the 4th annual event, with the round-robin games giving these future AFL stars a go.
This is the perfect pre-season window. Footy season is just about to come around, so we're hoping that some boys and girls here will play the game, have a taste of the game, and then sign up with their local clubs, which would be fantastic.
The event has been running since 2015. A sponsorship drive has enabled students from 5 Tasmanian schools to attend the Glover Prize exhibition in Evandale. The Australian Decorative and Fine Arts Society covered the cost of the excursion, which also allowed students to vote in the Children's Choice Award.
Children, much more so than adults, are active painters, and I can see that they are interested in how the artist makes these works, but they also are then thinking, much more so than adults, well, I might go and try that myself.
The People's and Children's Choice winners will be announced on Sunday. Whether it's online or in the schoolyard, Tasmanian students have spent the day raising awareness around how to keep themselves and each other safe, taking part in colourful and educational activities for the National Day of Action Against Bullying and Violence.
A plume of colour launched into the sky. Covered in the bright dust and racing through the school grounds, these Cosgrove High School students have come together to combat bullying.
Cosgrove today is raising awareness against bullying and violence around the world. So the point of today's activity is to come together as a school and participate.
They're just one of many schools across the state taking part in a national day of action.
I think it's very important to have an awareness around the impacts that bullying and violence has, to equip our students with strategies and ways in which they can best deal with that.
What I've noticed over the years at school is bullying is a real occurrence and it does need to be dealt with, but hopefully by today we'll be able to promote peace and harmony with our students.
Meanwhile, students at Princess Street Primary have been putting their cyber safety skills to the test, completing quizzes created by the Alana and Madeline Foundation aimed at tackling on-screen harassment.
They can explore the consequences with their teachers, with their peers, and what we hope is through that discussion, when they're out in the real world, hopefully they'll think about those consequences and know exactly what to do.
What sort of things have you learnt?
Like if you get like a rude email, then don't open it and just block the person.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
From aviators to educators, nurses to historians, some of our state's most outstanding women have today been inducted into the 2019 Tasmanian Honour Roll of Women. Among the distinguished list, Donna Adams, the highest ranked woman in Tasmania Police's history, appointed to the rank of Assistant Commissioner in 2011. Restaurateur Kim Seagram, who has played a major role in the promotion and development of the Tasmanian brand to the world. And Shan Tennant, whose inquest into prisoner deaths in custody at Risdon Prison led to major changes in staffing and ultimately to the decision to completely rebuild the prison. Free student-run tax clinics for individuals and small business operators can now be accessed through the University of Tasmania's Launceston and Hobart campuses. The Tasmanian clinics are 2 of 10 funded by the federal government nationwide in a bid to help people better manage tax issues.
We're hoping if people have got an adverse ATO finding, and if they're not represented, they can come down to any one of these tax clinics in Tasmania, down to the University of Tasmania, to sit down, not just with the students, but senior tax professionals, and work through that. The tax office will work collaboratively with them, and the hope is that we can resolve all of these issues very early on before it escalates.
The free tax clinic service will also take to the road, holding pop-up sessions across the state throughout the year.
Well, after packing his bags to chase his AFL dream, former North Launceston player Jay Lockhart is now a Melbourne Demon. The on-baller landed a spot on the club's rookie list during a last-minute trading window. Jay Lockhart was a 2-time TSL Premiership player and won Best of Field honours in the TSL's match against the NEAFL in 2017.
Playing for Tassie, let alone's a big enough honour, and but to win that medal, a lot of good players have won that medal, so absolutely stoked.
It helped him lift to lofty heights at the Casey Demons, playing in the side's VFL Grand Final last year. Now his AFL dream has come true, taking the last spot on Melbourne's rookie list during today's supplementary selection period. The club says Lockhart's selection is a reward for effort after a strong pre-season at Casey. Back home, and the Cricket Tasmania Women's T20 title will be decided at the TCA ground on Sunday. North Hobart is in red-hot form, having won its past 8 games in a row.
We defended a pretty low total last week, so I think we're in a good position to sort of go into the finals, feeling confident knowing that we have the depth in our batting order.
Just getting confidence as the season goes that we've seen throughout the season in the nets, but maybe haven't quite got in games, and now they're starting to believe in themselves.
The Oceania Cycling Championships have returned to the state. Evandale hosted the time trials today before the road races take place in Railton on the weekend. Local rider and defending under-19 champion Anya Lau finished 4th in today's racing. And despite the competition reducing from 8 teams to 6, the Women's Super League is about to begin in earnest. Olympia returns from the lower Championship League for this season, while the Hobart Zebras are welcoming plenty of new names.
We've got girls from City coming to Zebras, and we've got a couple of girls from Clarence and Taroona as well, so I guess it's just learning how the Zebras play.
We want to prove ourselves and prove that we deserve to be here.
Tasmania's hopes of making the Sheffield Shield final are over after going down to Western Australia late this afternoon. Chasing 399 runs today, the Tigers started play at none for 54 before quickly losing Jordan Silk and Alex Doolan. But the Tigers put in a remarkable effort to stay alive, with Matthew Wade making 134 and Tim Payne 47 before Payne was dismissed just before 6 o'clock, the Tigers falling short by 51 runs. Ahead of another title tilt at Tokyo 2020, Tasmanian para-athlete Todd Hodgetts is looking to conquer the state titles here at home. Known as the Hulk, the Paralympic gold medalist has developed a new technique to prolong his shot put career. It's hard to imagine a man dubbed the Hulk taking up ballet, but that's exactly what Todd Hodgetts has done recently to add extra spin to his shot put routine.
If you've got to be tensing up, it's not going to go very far, but if you've got a long axis, you're going to really throw a lot better.
His previous formula was enough to win Paralympic gold.
Oh, that's massive! That is well beyond the 16, and the big man is off to the races.
But at age 30, Hodgetts is refining his craft to extend his career.
The first time I actually threw the shot put in a rotation spin, I threw over the fence, so on that way, not actually up the circle.
The pain will be worth the gain, with Hodgetts expecting to remain competitive for another 10 years as the technique turbocharges his brute strength. Locals who want to see the shot-put strongman in action can head along to this weekend's state titles in Hobart. It'll be his last hit out in Tasmania before November's world titles in Dubai.
I'm not a quitter, I'm a Tasmanian. I'm proud, and I'm proud of this country too. I love it.
Good evening. Temperatures above average again, mostly. The high was 25 at Cressy and Launceston, Hobart 19 today, Burnie and Devonport 21, Flinders Island 24, Smithton and Friendly Beaches 23, Ouse 22, King Island, Low Head and St Helens 20, Lyawini and Strawn 19. Bit of cloud over the west and south dissipated during the day. A little convective cloud developed over the east later. Low-level cloud over the Southern Ocean and Bight, coastal low cloud over Victoria and New South Wales. Active thunderstorms developed over inland WA, eastern Queensland and the far north. Tomorrow the high moves over the southern Tasman Sea. As a cold front passes over the Southern Ocean, a series of troughs continue over the North Island. East to south-easterly winds, they'll tend east-north-easterly later, with easterlies increasing to 10 to 20 knots in the afternoon in the north. Inshore afternoon sea breezes as well. Mostly sunny to kick off the weekend, good for the cricket finals, 24 for Hobart, 25 for Maydena, 24 the top for Oatlands. Launceston, fine, partly cloudy, 26 the maximum, 23 for Devonport, Lyawini up to 21 degrees. Burnie 22 and partly cloudy, sunny in the west, Strawn 23 along with Marrawar, and for St Helens tomorrow a high of 21 degrees, 22 for Swansea, Orford partly cloudy and 21, UV high across the state at 7. On Sunday, fine and partly cloudy apart from a shower over the east, another shower over the east on Monday but mainly fine for the rest of the state. That same weather pattern slides over into Tuesday as well. Mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow, fine and sunny as well in Adelaide and Melbourne, showers for most of the rest of the centres up north apart from Alice Springs. A little bit of cloud about, 16 degrees in Hobart, 20 right now in Launceston, Devonport 18 degrees. Not a bad weekend shaping up, Joe.
It does seem pretty nice, doesn't it, Murph? You'll have to get your board shorts back out. Thanks very much for your company, everyone. Have a great weekend. We will see you a little later with updates. Bye for now.